Good afternoon, I'm Kelly.
And I'm Donathan.
And we are Craving
Cinematics.
Well, last night, Donathan and I got to watch yet another lovely movie called Taare Zameen Par. Sorry. I don't know why I was suddenly threw horror in there, but it's...
Because you meant to say hi.
Maybe. Sorry, guys. But it was a movie that was strongly recommended by a lot of people. So we watched it, and, well, what can I say? Once again, I'm very glad that we did. So what did you think? I'll start with you. What did you think about the movie?
Well, first of all, I've got a bone to pick with you guys.
Uh-oh.
For some reason, I don't know how you're doing it, but it's as though you know me better than I know myself. Started watching this movie, I started recognizing things early on. So, wait a minute. I've been through that. I know what that's like. And then when it came out as to what the problem was, I thought, oh no, I've been there. I really have. Throughout most of my childhood, I was called stupid, idiot, you'll never amount to anything, you can't do anything, you can't read or write. And I'm going to make a confession to all you guys, and don't laugh, please. I really didn't learn how to tie my shoes until I was almost 10 years old. Really. And just seeing what was going on was just heartbreaking. It hit me so hard watching this. I didn't know if I was going to be able to finish watching the film. And the only reason I continued to watch the film is this has got to have a good resolution. And then I heard the flute. I said, okay, I can finish watching this movie because I know, Ishaan is going to get help. So, okay, this is going to be great. And then who do you see coming out in this wild outfit with a clown nose and playing the flute shoes. And them big ears? If you don't know who I'm talking about Amir Khan.
Oh, my hair's doing something funny. Sorry, guys.
So that just immediately lifted my spirit. Just seeing him dance around singing, it was just so amazing. So, what did you think?
Well, it took 1 minute for the credits were just starting to play. The opening credits, and the title comes up, but then the English meaning came up. Every child is special.
You knew.
And I already started crying, you guys. I did. I started tearing up. I was like, oh. And knowing that Amir was in it, and just how he comes off as showing this very, very warm and caring heart in every movie.
Yeah.
You just knew that this was going to take you on a roller coaster, an emotional roller coaster that was going to be a fantastic ride.
Yeah.
But once I figured out what the movie, what the problem with this child was, which was he has dyslexia, I knew Donathan's story. And I started thinking about Donathan. I'd look over at him every once in a while and just tears streaming down his face. And we finished watching it. And, he said, Kelly, that was my life.
Yeah.
That was...
Yeah. Well, for me, I didn't really have that hope. It wasn't until, later on in my senior year in high school that it finally dawned on me that I could actually be smart, and I didn't have to cover it up with being an outcast. And I'll never forget, it was in an English class, English literature class of all places, and I remember we were reading a poem, and it happened to be a poem that was written in Holland. and it was just it was talking. It was a Holland or Finnish type poem, but it was about the Vikings, and they come across this one word, mead.
MEAD.
Yeah.
Okay.
And
beer.
Actually, it's a honey-based alcohol.
Well.
So what ended up happening was no one could get the answer. You know, the teacher asked, "Who knows what that is?" No one answered. And I just kind of raised my hand because I happened to know what the answer was. And I said, "It's alcohol." And she goes, "That's exactly right. Very good." And that's what tripped it for me.
Really?
Yeah, that one instant. And from that point forward, I knew I could do something. And again, I'm a senior in high school, and I wasn't doing very well. That's what turned me around when it came to being able to study more. Because I wasn't able to read very well until I was way up, in grade school. Mm-hmm. And there were just certain things. And yes, when I was during that time, I drew a lot. I did portraits for people. I did wildlife scenes.
You wrote poetry too.
I wrote a lot of poetry. Just nobody could read it. That's the problem.
Well.
But use the number of spelling errors. But the thing is that you never know what's going to happen to help someone who has this kind of problem. And when we were watching this movie, I was like, "Oh my God!" Like I said, I didn't know if I was going to be able to finish it, but I'm really glad that we did.
Yeah.
Now, I'm not going to ask Kelly what she's going to rate it. I'm not going to rate it. I think we're past that.
Yeah, we're past rating.
You got good
at least
and you got
10.
bad. This is a definite recommendation for anybody who wants to see it, especially if you are experiencing that, or if you have a child, or if you know of a child who is experiencing these kind of problems. Please see this movie.
And I had 2 daughters. Mm-hmm. I have 3, but 2 of my 3 daughters had dyslexia. I have dyslexia also, but mine's more with numbers. Mm-hmm. I do recall the dancing letters on the pages and being very frustrated with it. But my youngest daughter had tracking problems with her eyes too, and dyslexia, so she was really frustrated. And it took a teacher, Mrs. Horn, her first grade teacher at Mountain Gap Elementary School, came to me one day and said, "Brina has dyslexia and she has tracking problems." And I'm like, "What?" Because she was doing really well in school, but she was struggling. She was hiding a lot of it. Mm-hmm. And so, as a parent, I kind of reacted like, what's the little boy's name again?
Ishaan,
thank you. His parents, like, "Oh, well, there's nothing wrong with my student. My child's perfect. You must be wrong." And at first, I didn't get help for her. I didn't go right away. But then I started recognizing it. I started saying, and then my middle child came to me and said, "Mom, I'm having this, I have the same problems." My youngest child had to go through all kinds of eye exercises and relearning. Well, we all did, relearning how to read. So basically what I'm getting at is that if a teacher, teachers are trained to see this. Not all teachers take the time to help it.
Yeah, sometimes they can't because they've got so many students in the classes.
And yes, and sometimes and most times they're overwhelmed. But if a teacher does come to you and say, let you know that there's a problem with your child, don't dismiss it like Ishaan's parents did. It almost killed Ishaan.
Yes.
It almost killed him.
Yeah.
And if it weren't for this one teacher, and I think in all of our lives, at least I hope, that somewhere in all of our lives, we've all had that one special teacher that took notice of you and cared about you. Mm-hmm. And Isham had this in Amir's character.
Yeah.
And it was fortunate that they came together through painting and artwork. If you are that teacher and you have that struggling student, please continue to be an advocate for that student.
Yep. Exactly. Before we tear up and start crying, it's just thank you so much for recommending this movie. Continue to request movies that we watch. We really enjoy them. And again,
our new website will be up soon.
Yeah.
Where you'll be able to see what we're going to be watching.
Yeah. And guys, you're creeping me out, man, with these movies.
No, you're not creeping him out. This is the wrong word.
No, they're creeping me out. It's like you already know who I am, so. But we do appreciate it, and I have really enjoyed it. Both of us have.
Yeah.
So, anyway, I'm Donathan,
and I'm Kelly,
and we are Craving Cinematics.
Bye bye.